From BLC Studios in Mankato, Minnesota, this is the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast, presented by Dunkin, with your host, Shane Frederick.
Welcome to the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast, presented by Dunkin. My name is Shane Frederick. I'm the host, and I'm joined today. We got a full room in the studio today with the top scoring line in the country, I think, if the stats add up correctly. We'll go left to right with Cade Borchardt, Julian Napravnik, and Nathan Smith from the Minnesota State Mavericks. How are you guys doing today?
Really good. How are you?
Doing great. Nice to have you guys on. You've all been on individually this season, and now you're here together as a trio. I guess you mentioned earlier a triplets line. Do you guys have a line for your a name for your line, a nickname for your line? I have to ask that right off the bat.
No.
Has anyone come up with one yet?
I haven't heard one.
Yeah, I haven't heard one. It's the blue line, I guess.
Yeah.
The blue line?
Yeah, it's our
you guys
our
wear
color
the
in practice.
Blue jerseys in practice? All right. It's kind of boring, but, we'll have to come up with something now that the playoffs have started. We're going into the playoffs. The CCHA playoffs begin this week with the Mavericks taking on St. Thomas. Of course, the Mavericks won the McNaughton Cup and got the number one seed and home ice throughout the tournament. And they're coming off their 10th and 11th wins in a row with a sweep at Michigan Tech, taking 5 of 6 points because one of those games was an overtime win. Let me just ask you guys a little bit about playing Tech. I talked to Jack McNeely and Reggie Lutz last week going into the series about how tough that would be. You guys have played them 4 times this year, swept the series, but every game was essentially a 2-1 game, 2 overtime games. One was 3-1 with an empty netter. They're the second place team in the league. If everything goes to chalk, you guys will play them in a championship game in a few weeks. What's it like playing them? What kind of rivalry do you guys have with Michigan Tech? Nathan, you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're second in our division. They kind of play similar to us in a way, like where they defend pretty hard. They have a really good goaltender, but I mean, at the same time, they can score on the chances that they get, and that's kind of how the game was played this past weekend. It was super defensive, and I think. Both goalies played really well, I would say, and just the opportunities that each team got, we capitalized on them. So
you guys got behind both games. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You don't want to start off getting behind in a game, but to kind of have to claw your way back in and find a way to win a game has to show probably a little bit of positivity for the way you guys are playing right now. Right, Cade? You want to tackle that one?
Yeah, obviously you never want to go down, and it's something we take pride in, is getting a good start. And I think we struggled with it both games, but it kind of shows a little bit about our team, and that we're able to bounce back from that. And I think we had the second half of both games, we played really well. So obviously we want to take pride in those starts and make sure, especially in playoffs when you never know when the season's on the line, you want to have good starts. But I think it's something we're going to keep working on. Hopefully down the road we'll keep getting better starts.
How about for you, Julian? You scored the overtime winner on Friday night, and did you feel like that's kind of how that series went for you guys, just trying to find a way to get your legs under you and kind of take over the game at some point?
Yeah, I mean, like Smitty said, they played pretty similar to us, and then just I think that just reflected on how the game went, just going to overtime. Just a 1-1 game, 2-2 game. What was it? 2-1-1, I think.
Yeah, 1-1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, going into overtime, we kind of knew it's gonna be pretty close. I think I don't know, just.
How do you guys like playing 3-on-3 overtime? Let me ask you that, because obviously that's always been up for debate, and some coaches love it, some don't. I think your coach, Mike Hastings, does like it, and certainly likes the idea that it prepares you for the next levels of hockey, where they play 3-on-3 overtime. But it seems like it's exciting for the fans to watch. You guys have had some success in that, a couple times against Tech with Nathan, you scoring an overtime winner back in December and making the really nice heads-up pass to Julian for the game winner on Friday night. Do you guys like playing 3-on-3 overtime? Do you like playing that style?
Yeah, I mean, I personally love it. I know these guys do too. I think just players that play the way we do, and we love time and space. And 3-on-3, it's obviously a lot more time and space. And, we can create more and kind of cut off people and pick people and stuff like that just to kind of create more space. And so I think people like us, and there's a couple other guys on our team who really thrive in 3-on-3.
Yeah, what do you guys think? What makes it fun?
Yeah, I think both of our answers are probably similar to that. We love it. Having the puck more, just less guys out there. So I think it's definitely fun for the fans. You can see they're off their seats, and I know we love it.
Hey, and Julian, it's funny. I mean, you got to kind of cash in on a really good play by Nathan there, and you don't see a lot of physical play necessarily in 3-on-3, but Nathan makes a physical play behind the net to kind of jar the puck loose and get it, and then probably had an open shot himself, but saw you wide open on the back door and made the easy pass for the easy goal and the game winner.
Yeah, I actually didn't really see how he got that puck because I just turned around when he was kind of battling that guy behind the net. So, I think that was the first body contact in that overtime. Since you said there's not a lot of contact in there, but just pickpocket that guy, just won the battle and then just had a 2-0 in front of the net there.
I think people sometimes don't realize how tired players can be at the end of a game where you go into overtime and now you're playing 3-on-3 open ice. There's more skating. There's opportunities for mistakes to happen, line changes, getting caught out there too long, and especially after playing a full 60-minute game prior to that. How do you prepare for that? And I know, that's fun to talk about now because, going forward, there aren't going to be any more 3-on-3 games unless there's a whole bunch of penalties. But, how do you prepare for that and make sure that you're ready for it both physically and just making sure that, you're playing the right way?
Yeah, I think that's another reason why we love 3-on-3 so much is because I would say more often than not, we're in better shape than the other team. And aside from overtime, even in the third period, I think we're a good third period team, and that's because we're in better shape and better condition than most of the other teams. And that just leads into overtime too. And if we're really hemming them in the third period, and we happen to take them to overtime, then we all like our chances because we're in better shape. We have the players to win in 3-on-3 and guys who just know how to play 3-on-3. So I think that's a big part of it.
You guys really pride yourselves on the condition that you guys are in. It seems like that's been a staple of Minnesota State hockey for a long time.
I agree. Our practices are harder than games, so everyone literally hates practice. So that definitely, that's a big factor in why we're in better shape than other teams.
Sure. You guys hate practice too? Nathan just told us that you guys did, that everybody did. So I just want to make sure that everybody's on the record.
I'm speaking for the whole team right now.
It's definitely a grind. Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's always seemed like you're having some fun out there, though. At times,
yeah,
depends on the day.
Take the best out of it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we love the game, so
absolutely. Well, let me. I don't want to single you out too much, Nathan. But I want to ask you a little bit about your experience playing in the Olympics. These guys missed you for a few weeks, and you got an opportunity to play for Team USA and go over to China with Coach Hastings and be a part of it. And I know there's probably some disappointment with not being able to compete for a medal, but just can you talk about that whole experience and what that was like for you?
Yeah, it was a dream come true, really. My whole life I've just hoped and dreamed of playing in the Olympics, and I think anytime you can wear the red, white, and blue on no matter what the stage, and this one just so happened to be the biggest stage, it's pretty special. Obviously, like you said, didn't end the way we wanted it to, but we had a really good team. We had a great group of guys. The villages and pretty much the whole experience for what it was worth, as far as being in the bubble and all the COVID restrictions and what we were allowed to do and not able to do. It was a blast, really. I got to make new friends. Like I said, all the guys were great. The villages were great. They had 5-bedroom apartments, 3 bathrooms, so kind of had our own space. And needless to say, we had a good time.
Did you get to go see a lot of other events? It seemed like I read a couple of good stories about how because there were so few spectators at a lot of those events. A lot of the spectators ended up being other athletes.
Yeah, I think they had some like Chinese like citizens and stuff there that were they were also at the other events, and we were able to go. Like we had to have tickets at times, and other times we didn't. So you just had to catch a bus really, and you can go see whatever one you wanted. All like the half pipe and like the stuff that they do in the mountains, like the skiing, the snowboarding, all was like 4 hours away. But the coolest thing I got to see was the big air. And I don't know if you know what it is, but they just go down a huge hill and up a big jump and just do like a bunch of tricks.
Right. The ski on skis, right? Not the skiers or the snowboarders.
Well, they did both. I actually went just to the skiing.
Okay.
And it was just, I mean, I don't know how these people do it. Like, I just watch them and I'm like, you guys are insane. But I'm sure they say the same thing about other events and maybe even us. So it's just cool to see like other athletes, best in the world get to do what they love to do.
What was it like for you to miss the time and be away from your team, and especially that Bemidji series? I think when not only did they clinch the McNaughton Cup, but your coach got to make it back, and it sounded like you had probably had a pretty good experience being able to stay there for closing ceremony. So it wasn't like you were stuck in an airport or something. But what did you follow that from afar with the time change, or how did you kind of handle that weekend?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it sucks that I wasn't able to be here to experience the McNaughton Cup, especially the fifth one. But I mean, we did have a good time up there. Kind of partied for a little bit after. Got in a little bit of trouble, but it was definitely worth it. But yeah, I mean, I tried my best considering the time change. I think it was really weird because when I was waking up, it was like 2 hours, and then the guys were going to bed. So it was just such a big time difference. I think it was 14 hours. But yeah, I did keep up with the scores as much as I could, and they were super supportive with me going over, not just them, but like the whole team. So I'm really appreciative of that. And yeah, I kept up with the scores. I was just praying that they would pull it out. And when I looked, it was like 5-1. I'm like, all right, cool, we got it in the bag.
So it was funny. I asked Julian after one of those games against Bemidji about playing and the chemistry that you guys have. And Brendan Furry was playing between you guys that weekend, and you guys had a lot of success. And Julian talked a lot about just kind of the chemistry and really how you guys can really play kind of with anybody. And I noticed the line chart on Friday night at Tech that they kept Furry between you two. But by some point in the game, number 8 was suddenly back with you guys, and the band was back together. What is there more chemistry with you three, would you say? And Cade, maybe you can bring that up, talk about that first, or do you really see kind of a nice mix and match out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it doesn't really matter. We have so many good guys in this team. But yeah, we've played together longer than with Brendan. But when Smitty went overseas, we played with Furs, and we had some good chemistry, and things were going well too. So I think we just kind of kept that going to the Tech game, and then I don't think we had scored yet. We switched it back just to kind of change some stuff up. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they had both the goals, and
right.
I wasn't out for any of them. So
you weren't.
Thanks, boys.
So you weren't out there.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they scored the 2 shifts.
You're waiting for your change to come off the ice there. Or?
Yeah, no, both him and Furs, and like I said, I mean, it's kind of just the mentality we have on our team. Next guy up, and obviously we were so proud of him going over there and stuff. But I never thought we were never worried about we were going to play with or whatever. It's just kind of we knew the way we play and stuff, and there's so many good guys in our team that we'd be fine.
But as far as the three of you go, what kind of is there a certain chemistry? Is there a certain, because of you guys playing together as long as you have, and Julian, maybe you can talk a little bit about this. What is it about the three of you that kind of where you see kind of a knack for scoring? I mean, right now I believe Julian and Nathan have the exact same scoring numbers with I think it's 17 goals, 27 assists, I believe, for 44 points, and I think Cade's at 38 points or something like that. I think we're I don't have the stats right in front of me, so correct me if I'm wrong. Send me a tweet, tell me I'm wrong. It's fine. But do you sense some chemistry out there? And just from playing, I'm sure the practices and just the number of hours that you've spent together has really just found a way to where you get a real knack out there for the way you've played.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. Like, we're clicking definitely in some way. That's probably the second year we're playing together, so the time is really important part of our chemistry. And like you said, like, we're practicing together. We're doing a lot of stuff together, like be it power play, everything, like just talking about plays, talking about like changes that we have, and I think just over time that chemistry is coming along. So I think that's the biggest part.
And Nathan, for you, what was it like to get back, in a college game post Olympics and get back with these guys or whoever you were happened to be skating with on the weekend? And did it feel different than playing in the Olympics? Did it feel any kind of change in style or just the way things seemed being back with your team or the way the opponents were?
I mean, yeah, in China, in the Olympics, the game was a little bit faster. Guys had better sticks defensively, and I think that's just the way it is. The as you go up in levels, but yeah, it was super nice to get back to the guys and back to like a routine, I would say. I mean, like they've been saying, we've been playing together for 2 years now, and the chemistry that we have is just pretty much next to none, right? And I mean, we know what each other likes. We know what each other does on the ice in certain situations and where to be when they're doing that kind of stuff. And so it was nice to have that chemistry back. And it was just a little bit harder up there, right? We only had 3 weeks to kind of play with each other. And granted, it's guys like I've known playing against, some with in college hockey. And so, I mean, I kind of know what they do and stuff like that, but it's not the same as playing with two guys you've been playing with for 2 years.
Right.
So yeah, it was nice to get back.
We talked a lot about just you guys mentioned the chemistry and obviously the depth of the team and really as good as your line's been, you're just seeing a lot of different guys do a lot of different things every night. I still think one of my favorite stats, and two guys here might not love this stat, but the fact that your team has 5 hat tricks this season and none of them have been Nathan Smith or Julian Napravnik. I think one of them was Cade Borchardt, though, right? But I just think that's interesting for, 2 of the top scorers in the nation are sitting here and haven't had a hat trick, but 5 of their teammates, 5 different guys have had hat tricks this season. And I know it's a little different when a guy has 2 and it's the third period and, you can tell people are trying to get that third one for someone. But anybody else find that somewhat ironic?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Wyatt specifically
Wyatt
in
get these guys going.
Get that guy a shout out there.
Make sure they don't forget.
Wyatt Ahmet, the defenseman who has I think 5 career goals, including 3 in that game earlier this year.
This is a tough conversation for
yeah,
some of us.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but we're trying to have some fun here too.
Yeah, no, I mean it's really not a huge deal. I mean, obviously when the team's having success, and it's like when Wyatt scored his, I think, there wasn't one person who was like, "Oh my God, he scored that!" No, we were all super pumped for him. Obviously, we know he has 5 or 6 career goals, but that's why it made it so much cooler to see that he got one. And I mean, Julian's had multiple 2-goal games. I think I've had maybe 1 or 2, but. I mean, it's not something that's in the back of our head we have to get a hat trick, right? We're just trying to do our job and, hopefully produce.
I think the having fun with that story or finding it ironic is not so much making fun of you guys as much as it is really just kind of an example of the depth on your team. If you look at the list of hat tricks scored by Minnesota State players over the years, I mean, there's been a lot of seasons where there hasn't been anybody or there's maybe been one. And you guys have 5 this year, and plus 2 guys in the 40s, who could easily get to 50 point, have 50 point plus seasons, and I just think it just kind of goes to show why you guys are number 1 in the nation, and really what your team is founded upon, and it's not necessarily a one line team or a one player team, but really a full depth of forwards, defensemen, and obviously a pretty darn good goaltender.
Yeah, I mean, kind of going on that, if you can see on our team, talking about depth-wise, if you see on our scoring list, there's probably 10 guys that are over 20 points, and it just shows us how deep we are, that every line can score a goal. It's not depending on 1 or 2 lines, so that just shows how deep we can be, and that every line can be a factor, can be a game changer.
you're going into the playoffs now. How do you think things change, going forward, or how does your mindset change? You get a 2 out of 3 weekend this weekend against St. Thomas. If you advance, there's a single semifinal game by itself, and then a single championship game. You're in the NCAA tournament, so you're probably not only you're playing for a playoff championship, which I'm sure you want, but also kind of maintaining whether it's that number 1 pairwise spot or certainly a top 4 where you would get a number 1 seed. But what is the mentality like for this team going into the postseason? Do things change? Do you flip a different kind of switch? Does coach flip a different kind of switch when things start? Maybe Cade, you want to start with that? Or
yeah, I mean, I think everyone's mindset is it's just a new season. Coach kind of talked about it today before practice. It's a new season, and like St. Thomas, they got nothing to lose, and they're going to be hungry, and they've been playing well. They've been playing some good hockey, and so a bunch of other teams in our in the CCHA. So we got to be ready. It's a new season, and every team has different mindsets now, and like I said, they got nothing to lose, so they're going to be coming after us, and our target's just getting bigger, and everyone wants to beat us. So, yeah, I think we got to be ready.
Well, you, Nathan, what do you think of that?
Just kind of going off of that, I don't think we change anything. Like you said, it's new season. I mean, everyone's 0-0. Obviously, like St. Thomas, they didn't have probably the best year that they were hoping for, but like you said, they are playing some good hockey right now. I think the last couple of weekends they've gave some good teams some good games, and we're just going to try and play our game, right? We're just going to play the style that we know how. We're not going to feed into the other stuff, and we do have a target on our back, I would assume, and nobody likes to get beat all the time, and so I think they're going to come out hard. They're going to be physical, and we just need to match that.
Did you guys learn anything last year? I mean, last year was such a strange year because of COVID, but you get knocked out of the semifinals, and I know things were weird, but just because of not having a lot of fans in the stands and things like that. But and I don't know if that led to what happened the following week, where you win your first NCAA game and then make it to the NCAA tournament. But I don't know. Was there a moment last year in that semifinal game where you kind of look back on that and kind of realize kind of what maybe you have to do in the playoffs this year, Julian?
I mean, just learning from it, I would say. Like last year was not a great game for us. I think everybody knows that, getting blown out by like that. So just like learning from it and going day by day, just not taking a day for granted or a week for granted, or like it's not the NCAA tournament yet. It's the playoffs, but it's not less important. So just taking it day by day and not like getting ahead of anything.
Is there I think people, it's human nature, I think, for people to look at, you win a McNaughton Cup, you have the number 1 seed, you're high up in the pairwise, and even looking at Michigan Tech that weekend, and wondering like, okay, what does either team have to play for? Tech's got some pairwise to play for, but they're locked into second place. You guys already knew at that point who your opponent was going to be in the first round of the CCHA tournament. So I think it's human nature as fans and people observing to say like, all right, what do they have to play for? So when it comes down to that, what, in a weekend like that where, nobody's resting, I know you guys had a few guys injured. What is kind of the goal and the mentality? Is it just to keep rolling? I mean, I know you're all competitive and you want to win, so that's probably number one. But what are you looking at? Going into both these playoffs, because you're always people are looking at the NCAA tournament or last weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing for pairwise too. I mean, obviously, it's once you get into the NCAA tournament, it really doesn't matter like what seed you are. And Coach touched on that a little bit today. How previous years he's been a 1 seed and got knocked out by the 4 seed, and so I think we just need to be like the idea of us playing to win is just that's our mentality. We're always going to come out and play to win. It doesn't really matter like what position we're in as far as first, or if we're we're playing for a spot in the playoffs or the tournament or something. Our mentality doesn't change, and the way we play isn't going to change. So
you're trying to tweak things and perfect things and make sure that things are clicking in certain ways. But and then also I assume just finding ways to win games, like we mentioned, and those were tough games last weekend. And is that part of, if you can find different ways to win games, it seems like that does you a lot of favors going forward. You don't always have to win the same way. Is that right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
So this season it's so tough for players. I think as a person who really enjoys college hockey, whether I was writing about it or doing the podcast or just sitting in the stands, do you guys get to enjoy these wins? I mean, it's such a grind of a season, and you're going through, and it's always kind of the next game up, and you win a championship, and then you're off to the next set of playoffs. And do you get to kind of enjoy this season as it's gone on? And certainly it's been fun this year with crowds, and whether it was up at Tech last weekend, looked like nice crowds there, and certainly what you guys have had at home. But, do you get a chance to look and enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can speak for everyone on our team and staff, and we definitely enjoy and love winning and what we got going here. And I think, you always got to move on, and you can't live in the past with winning McNaughton or having the record we had and stuff. But you have to enjoy it, and it's part of life. You can't, you can't always just keep going forward. But like I said, I think we're all enjoying it every day, but still taking it day by day, but being proud of ourselves and enjoying the moment.
Yeah, Julian.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely make sure that we enjoy those wins. Like those are big, especially in last weekend. It's 2 really hard games. There's always room for us enjoying those wins, but like you said, as soon as Monday comes around, we gotta
Right.
flip the page, like Coach always says. But we do make sure that we enjoy that time.
That's good. Nathan?
Yeah, I mean, we do enjoy it, but I think the mentality is like we have a winning mentality. We try to never be satisfied. So once we do enjoy it, like you said, it's Monday or coming around, and it's we just try to get better. We try to get better and improve on things, because there's always room to improve. And going late into the season, we know it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. Every team's good. And like you said, it's good for us to play these 2 games this last weekend and have to win different ways, and that's going to be important down the road.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck going forward in the CCHA playoffs starting this weekend against St. Thomas. Best 2 out of 3 starting Friday night in Mankato with the number 1 seed Minnesota State Mavericks and the number 1 team in the country, both in the opinion polls, which no one really gives much opinion about, and the pairwise, which is most important. But good luck, guys, and we'll be watching, and appreciate you joining the podcast this week.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. So Cade Borchardt, Julian Napravnik, Nathan Smith, thanks for joining me. I'm Shane Frederick. This has been the Maverick Hockey Live podcast presented by Dunkin, and we'll see you next week.